Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you for joining us for another insight-packed webinar. We always find these sessions to be mutually valuable, whether you're already a customer of ours or just someone with a passion for business innovation. But at a time like this, it's even more important than ever for us to find ways to come together, to learn from each other, and to share best practices. Focusing, of course, on innovation in the time of coronavirus, this webinar will hopefully leave you feeling optimistic in the face of this current disruption. And with any luck, it will inspire you to leverage idea management as part of your company's efforts to get back to business as usual. Okay, so my name is Elliot Wilkins, and I'm a marketing manager for Qmarkets based out of the UK. I'm your host for today. In addition to myself from Qmarkets, we're joined by our VP of Products and Customer Success, Savannah Lashem, who has been heavily involved with the direction of our platform over the last 7 years. We have our Head of Customer Success, Ilona Gochman, who is responsible for the evolution of Qmarkets' customer success offering. And last but certainly not least, we have Ipek Duman, who manages the deployment of Qmarkets' platform within Ford OTOSAN. At this point, it's worth noting that we encountered a small issue when recording this webinar and unfortunately lost parts of Ipek's presentation. So in this recording, Ilona will share the first half of Ipek's slides before we cut back to the original recording of the live webinar. So please accept our apologies. So this is what we'll be covering in today's session. First of all, Savannah will be giving some context to the current situation by explaining the need for this webinar in general. Then we will hear from Ilona and Ipek about how OTOSAN and other customers are responding directly to this crisis. And finally, we have a Q&A session, which includes some very nice questions from the audience and detailed answers from our speakers. So just be sure to stick around until the very end. But for now, I'm going to hand you over to Savannah.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you, Elliot. It's great being here. And just to start with, we would like you to fill a quick poll just to get better understanding of who is joining us today. So hopefully you see a pop-up on your screen asking you how significantly has COVID-19 impacted your company as a whole. Please fill it. We will give you 15 seconds or so to leave your answer. Of course, the results will be confidential. Okay, thank you everyone. So looking in the numbers, we can clearly see that all of us has been impacted, and actually the majority of us has been significantly impacted, more than a 2/3. Okay, so why are we actually doing this webinar? If there is one thing that the current business landscape has showed us, is that it's more important than ever for all organizations, and especially large ones, to employ a proactive approach to innovation. We at Qmarket are lucky enough to have worked with hundreds of businesses from all kinds of geographies and industries. And we believe that this gives us a unique vantage point that we would like to share with you. We know that naturally each one of you has his own unique challenges, but we do see that many of you have a lot in common, and there is a lot we can learn from each other. And this is actually why we are here. The most concerning thing about this crisis was how difficult it was to forecast. Many analysts has attempted to predict the disruption and evaluate which companies and which industries will be affected. This chart from Accenture is just one of that example, but as we know now, even the industry that considered to be relatively safe are not safe anymore, and they too has been thrown into an absolute chaos. So getting back to how we at Qmarkets believe we can help, there are a few ways to look at corporate innovation, and this diagram reflects the full scope of the holistic innovation management as we see it. This panel illustrates the many sources for innovation, both internal and external, the various processes that those innovations can follow, and finally, how many outcomes these processes can generate for your company. A Qmarkets suite of collective intelligence products are mapped to meet the unique requirement of each stage in this funnel, whether you want to cover the full spectrum of these innovation activities or only a single use case like technology scouting, open innovation, or empathy mapping. We see these days that even companies which previously focused on a specific use case can easily adapt their platform to respond to COVID-19 challenges or approach external sources like their customer or vendors and other sources they've never been working with before. In these days, the holistic approach to Innovation Manager is ensuring that every stakeholder within your innovation ecosystem is engaged and contributing the maximum toward your company objective. Bottom line, as we see it, is that COVID-19 enforces us to be more innovative and more agile than ever. I'm going now to hand over to Ilona, who will share some stories about our customers that are already doing that.
Thanks, and hello everyone. It's great to speak to you. So it definitely has been a unique time for all of us, with many of us being separated from our loved ones and even from our office spaces, obviously, for over a month. This is why I have my background here, missing my office. But from my unique perspective as Qmarkets head of customer success, I have to say that it also has been very inspiring for a few weeks. So our team has spent a lot of time consulting all of our customers, and it's been pretty exciting seeing how they've successfully leveraged our platform and to adapt to all of these changes. So in a few minutes, I'll share a high-level analysis of the use cases that we see already used by our customers. But before that, we thought that it will be best to hear directly from one of our most impressive examples, actually, and find out how Ford OTOSAN utilized Qmarkets platform to address COVID-19 challenges. So Ford OTOSAN have been with us for a couple of years already. And while previously they focused on continuous innovation and improvements, their primary use case with this crisis led them to slightly different directions, obviously. So we're now going to hear a little bit about their use case. So as Elliot mentioned before, we don't have the recording on the first part from directly introduced by Pek. So right now I'm going to share some of the information she previously shared on the webinar in person on her behalf. And then you will hear the rest directly from her. Ipek is the Senior Innovation Specialist in Ford OTOSAN, and we're very happy to have her joining us for this webinar and sharing her story. So to give just a little bit of background before we start getting into the details of the specific use case, we asked Ipek to share some details on the challenges that Ford OTOSAN has faced as a result of the ongoing crisis, and what were they facing right now. Ipek was kind enough to prepare summarize some of the information for us. So I will share it now. So in terms of timeline and the challenges that Ford OTOSAN were facing, all of the situation kind of escalated around March 11th when they got an announcement from their Ministry of Health about different restrictions. This is a company that is not used to work remotely. Of course, they're manufacturers and a physical, a lot of blue collar employees at the company. So this was a very, very significant change for them, which they rather quickly adjusted to. So you can look at the timeline here. And on March 18th until 21st, they already transformed to a full, almost full home office working model and stopped operating at most of their plants. Couple of days later, they already launched the idea campaign that we're going to talk about in a minute. So only 10 days after the initial notice and the understanding that they're going to face significant changes coming in this next period. And then after that, they also activated volunteer groups within their community and taking actually some very interesting, and we'll see examples of that, interesting initiatives to support hospitals, the medical teams, by developing specific products that they were not developing before and started to do now to support the situation. Of course, all of that was combined with a lot of offline activity, online activity, sorry, for meetings, whether it's on a team level, management level, corporate level, etc., to really keep things going and have everyone aligned and connected. So specifically for the COVID-19 campaign, which was a huge success, it was running for only 2 weeks. Actually, they opened the submission for only 2 weeks, and they were able to gather 556 ideas, which is pretty amazing. It's one of the most successful campaigns that the company ran until now using the platform. And they had a lot of activity around that. So collaboration, you can see the number of likes, comments, etc. And right now they're already in the process of evaluating the idea, and even for some ideas that they recognize that they are very simple to implement and require less resources, we can already see examples of them implemented, and we'll see also even pictures of exactly what I'm talking about. So like fast track for some of the ideas that are already implemented, while they're now going through a full review process, selecting these ideas. This campaign is of course has the focus of management, and it was very, very successful and touched a very important need right now. So no surprising that the employees were so active around this campaign so quickly. So 2 weeks, 500 plus ideas, pretty amazing results. So while gathering the idea, a very nice practice that was implemented is to categorize them, dividing them to different types of issues. So we'll be able to address in different ways with different reviewers, experts, etc. So you can see here the topics that they divided during the submission. So whether it's new business models, ideas, social responsibility, digitalization, etc. And all of the ideas while submitting them were categorized by this. And of course, it's going to lead to the decision-making process and eventually for development and all of the workflow around that. A lot of corporate communication was supporting this campaign and effort. So everyone will know, first of all, that it's happening, and will submit and participate in it, even if not by actually submitting an idea, but collaborating around that. And of course, the results show how successful it was. So actually some examples from the challenge and from the activity that is going on right now in for OTOSAN. So first of all, you can see here an example of a 3D printed face shield. I mentioned a minute ago that for OTOSAN really went out of their way, not really a product that they used to manufacture until now. And they printed a huge amount of face shields. You can also see an example of this handle that was submitted as one of the ideas in the campaign and was fast-tracked and already implemented as a door opener, hands-free, don't need low touch in their spaces. And also they even introduced a social support mobile platform, just indicating where people need assistance for elderly. So tons of information there and other very valuable things to support the community. And all of that in the past 2 weeks. So super fast adjustment from ideation to implementation while still going through some of the ideas. So talking a little bit more about some of the initiatives that Ford led this past weeks. So the most exciting one is, of course, Ford OTOSAN developing this prototype and actually designing and manufacturing this face shield that usually take a long time to print, and they really went a long way to think about how to make it much faster in order to produce a huge amount of face shields and support the hospitals. So eventually they went for 3D printing, and not even that, but once they finished producing them, they also are going to share, or even shared already, the source. So it will be an open source and everyone else can pitch in and also produce some more face shields like that. So they already produced 30,000 face shields and supported more than 100 hospitals in their area, and also allowing others to help with that as well, while developing other assistants and types of products like that. So that is really amazing, with only 2-3 weeks running into that. So that's a huge achievement for OTOSAN. So now I'll just hand over back to Pek. We have the last few minutes with her, fortunately. So you can hear directly from her the rest of the examples and stories from Ford OTOSAN.
We also designed an aerosol box. Aerosol box is using while intubating, using by doctor, intubating the patients. So we have designed an innovative aerosol box as a curvy shape. So doctors can put their mobile phone and zooming in on the patient mount, and then do the intubation process by this plastic cabin. We have also produced 1,000 units, and to support hospital, now we are delivering to the hospital also. As you can see from the video, here is the aerosol box, and we understand that from the inside hospitals, they really need this type of box while intubating the patients through the testing or another application. The latest one is, as everyone knows, the protective coverall. We have also get support of our seat manufacturer. Actually, we are car manufacturer, and one of our seat manufacturer has transformed their model by producing this protective coverall. Here are the video how they are producing this coverall. We have also produced 10,000 units and now delivering to the hospital.
Nice. This is amazing progress for the last 2 weeks. Thanks so much for the examples.
Yes.
And well done on this. It's remarkable results, really.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yes.
Ipe.
Yeah, so I believe that we will recover by sharing this video. This is the video from our coach group, and saying that we will recover ourselves in the further times.
I'm sure you will with this type of solutions completely. Thank you very much. This is, in fact, one of many examples of campaigns that, as we said, our customers are using to fight against these challenges. As you can see in the screenshot right now appearing, a lot of our customers have already successfully fought back this way. These are actually only a handful of the cases. And if I can summarize a bit the purposes or the main use cases that we've seen so far, I have to say that, first of all, we see, of course, business-oriented campaigns focusing on finding internal solutions and securing business continuity, survival. The interesting thing about this type of challenges is that we see our customers are not only focusing on unique industry challenges, but also varied use cases that are more relevant than ever, and even like we just heard, harnessing disruption and changing their business or production lines completely. So that's super interesting to see. Another type that I personally think is extremely wise one is more of strengthening the community. So during these times, even if we can't take specific action or change, improve our business immediately, we definitely can build for the future. And one of the most valuable things a company can do is develop communities right now, bringing everyone together, strengthening relationship, and really set a solid ground towards whatever is coming next. So we see a lot of that, companies that look into how their resources can help their communities, whether it's customers, employees, etc. And another very important aspect that we see is HR related, catering immediate needs. Everyone are disrupted, processes are changing, employees are, as you can see, working suddenly from home. So many of the innovation teams suddenly involve HR experts from their companies, etc., and really launch campaigns that address that. And these are the main use cases, but we also see, and I want to point out some interesting trends that we're seeing. So first of all, companies that started in a small scale, wanting to gradually, scale up after a while, now are opening the community and the activity to a wider audience, to the full scope of the company employees. We also see that expansions not only for the employees, but also in terms of involving different stakeholders that were not part of the innovation processes before, but now becoming more relevant, and we do want them to be connected with us and gather ideas from them. And connected to that one, we also see specifically that it boosted a lot of open innovation, so including external audience as well in our processes. And of course, logically, we see several use cases where events that usually happened offline are now happening online. So we see Shark Tanks challenges, hackathons, or I even saw a nice example of Easter egg challenges from home, just keeping the company tradition going. So, and that connects to the HR type of campaigns. And one last thing that we see, and I would like to share with you, is that we see a lot of organizations that suddenly functioning as an umbrella or a pivotal platform to assist many different organizations and stakeholders that are facing same challenges. And I can even share with you two exciting examples that we've recently launched using our platform. So let me share my screen. So one of them, as you can see here, one of them is a very good example that comes in the form of a lead network in Austria, led by a consulting company, set by innovation consulting, lead innovation. This platform is allowing them to engage their pre-existing innovation community, but now they're doing it on a digital platform and introduce several challenges that are combined and answering the needs of their community. And another very, very exciting example, actually one of the projects that we most proud of, is that our platform is being used right now as a cross-industry collaboration tool to connect with a wide network of hospitals, suppliers, academics, institutes, and experts to really join forces and fight directly against coronavirus in the most efficient way possible right now. So we're happy to see that Qmarkets platform is becoming the weapon of choice for healthcare companies across the globe in their actual battle against coronavirus. So you can see that, and we're all also very happy to witness that the possibilities are limitless, and so are the ways that each company can address this situation. So actually, now that we share these examples and use cases, it would be interesting to raise another poll, short poll for you to learn what have you been doing and what is the situation at your company. So if you can quickly answer our new poll and say how effectively is your innovation program, in your opinion, is addressing the urgent challenges that your company is facing right now. Yeah, actually, it's really interesting. So first of all, I'm happy to see that no one has no innovation program. All of you guys have efforts already implemented. But it's interesting to see that some are in the planning stages right now, some already seeing results. So we really see the full scope here as well. So based on these results, I just want to finish with a small note on top of the examples that we just shared, and of course are here for you to use and utilize, and we will be happy to consult whoever has questions specifically for their use cases. But many times me and my team have been consulting customers, are brainstorming how to increase engagement and how to bring more stakeholders to the table, really struggling with that. Right now, everyone are online, more attentive to that, and it's the best time to focus everyone and really engage them, and this will serve you after that as well as the innovation leaders, etc. You will have much more audience that you already engaged and introduced to the platform. So this is a great opportunity for you. So that's an important note to think about. And I will finish with a short quote that I really like from Churchill, actually. Never waste a good crisis. So this is the purpose of our webinar today. And I'm happy that we have some examples to share with you that we just did. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alona. Thank you, Ipek, and thank you, Suban. That was some really fascinating content. We are running a little bit over the 30-minute slot that we originally allocated, but we do also have some very interesting questions. So hopefully you guys will stick around for those. So first of all, we see one which says, what is the most effective way of getting more activity out of your system? I suppose, Alona and Saban, that might be most relevant for you.
Actually, so maybe I can start and say that usually this question is always relevant, of course, not only in these times, but I think that the answer is different because usually if we have to think about communication and rewards and recognitions, etc., in order to encourage people to participate, I think that just like Ipek shared with us, in these days, the sense of community is so important. So I believe that if the company open the right challenges, the challenges that really needs solutions, and once we just communicate correctly, I'm sure that the community will respond to it.
Yeah, actually, I definitely agree. And even I would add to that, and we saw also examples from several of our customers. These times, it's very important, of course, to really understand the need. And if you introduce a challenge, exactly like we mentioned, that addresses these needs, everyone will participate. But also another aspect is the involvement of management and just explaining to have everyone connect them to the cause. We saw several examples where customers just placed like a welcome banner on the platform or included something in their communication for the campaign, just mentioning the cause, why do they expect them to participate. And for that coming from management, did a very big change to the engagement levels that we usually see. And we saw much higher engagement as a result.
Great. Well, I'll move on to our next question quickly. So this is a very detailed one. It's our executive leadership team is resisting our innovation efforts as not very relevant to business challenges related to this pandemic. The question is how to help leaders realize a strong culture of innovation exactly relates to a dynamic, agile organization in general. And maybe Ipek, if you have any thoughts on that you could share.
Okay, let me understand the question. How help leaders realize a strong cultural innovation, dynamic, agile?
Yeah.
Just to share an example, now we have turned our working model as agile. We are coming up daily meeting and planning our days. On the other hand, our executive leaders doing in the same way. This is just an example. If I understand the question correctly, the agile organization in how the leaders can strongly realize it strong. And then also the strong transparent communication from the leaders can contribute the current situation also. This is the answer from my side.
I think to add to that, and this is a very good example of actually implementing something like that, but we see from customers that gradually management understands much more than ever the power of the community, and they connect that to innovation processes right now. And we see a lot of innovation team that really rise their activity right now, and they're becoming the focal point of the organization as a result, because this is the only way that they see to address a lot of different topics at the same time with a lot of stakeholders, something that is very, very important right now that maybe they did not put so many attention before.
Great, thanks guys. One more here is, please could you share some details on the Qmarkets platform features that can be relevant for Corona-related challenges? And another one which is kind of related is, what are the critical success factors to harness the power of Qmarkets within organizations? Saban, do you have any examples that you could share?
I can share some examples from our demo and emphasize about how to use them specifically today. So I'll just share my screen. Okay, so this is our standard system. Of course, we have all the features that focus around the increasing collaboration, etc. But with your permission, I would like to focus on the feature that I think are even more critical these days because of the fact that we must be agile and because of the fact that we cannot use the regular methods for evaluation and for picking the best ideas. Like we do, and we have to do it really efficiently and really quickly. So I think that first of all, just like we said, we need to communicate. We need to communicate the reason for this challenge. We need to communicate the background so people can really react to it and understand what is needed for them. Another very nice feature that our system have is since you might want to open different or various challenges in parallel, you have the ability of adapting the submission form and adding more question or specific categories just for the specific campaign, just like Ipek said. So if you want to, for example, this is an example about customer service transformation. So you can add specific question about the experience of the employees, etc., in order to make sure that you get the most relevant and the most accurate questions. You don't need Qmarkets for that. You can do it by yourself by using our advanced self-admin capabilities. In order for that, many times when we want to evaluate a specific idea, usually we might arrange a meeting for that, or we might go to the guy that we know next door in order to ask him, but then we need to wait until he has time, and these things takes time. And not only that it takes time, we don't really utilize the vast of the opportunities that we have in our organization. Maybe the person that we need to consult with is not in the same office, maybe is working in a different time zone, maybe is speaking another language. And based on the AI feature that we recently developed into our company, for example, in case you want to consult with a specific expert, typically you would contact someone that you know, but here, not only that the system will recommend to you about specific people within the company that we analyze as being involved in similar ideas or in similar problems within another challenges, another idea that you might not be aware to. So you can pick from the recommended expert. And even if you don't want to use that, but you want to pick a specific question, our system allows you to look for specific experts in specific expertise, in specific department, in order to make sure that you will have the best solution in the most efficient way by using the knowledge that this system already has. Okay, so this is the first feature about how to pick the best expert and make sure that you do utilize all the knowledge that is already existing within your organization and within the system. The other feature that might be very useful is what we call the online evaluation committee. Let's say, just like Ipek, you collect now 500 ideas and you want to evaluate them quickly. You want to get to results as quick as possible. So what we allow you to have is define specific criteria that will help you analyze the ideas and compare them to what you are looking for. Of course, that you can define any criteria, and you can define different criteria for different challenges. You can give them different, of course, weight according to what would be the most important criteria. So you can look at ease of implementation, you can look at impact, at cost, or any other criteria that is relevant for this specific challenge. Of course, that if we are looking at Ilona's example about the Easter eggs, the criteria might be different. But the most important thing that you, the innovation manager, together with the people that run the campaign or run the challenge can look in one centric place about the results. You can look at all the IDs, you can look about the different criteria that they get. And of course, I didn't mention it before, but you can invite an unlimited number of experts from different places, different locations, so they will participate in this evaluation. It's not like usually that you will gather a meeting in the boardroom and then just invite the same 5 or 6 people to hear about what they think. Everybody will feel it in their own time, but of course you can look at the results, you can analyze them, and of course, for example, if I compare impact to cost, I can clearly see what are the ideas that should consider in order to move to the next state. We don't have a lot of time, so of course I will not get into it, but we have all the analysis capabilities, looking at the results, analyzing them, everything within the system in a very graphic way in order to see the results very easily. So I think that, again, of course, we have many other features. We've written about some of them in the blog, and we will be happy to assist you with specific needs with anything you need.
Yeah, and if I will add just a sentence about the question, specifically success factors to harness this platform. So we recently, in the past 2 weeks, helped companies start really from scratch, having no platform at all, not like OTOSAN that are with us already for 4 years, but coming from no platform at all to a full-blown campaign addressing this challenge in just a few days or a week. So the key here is to keep things simple, communicate, address specific very important issues that you think that people will start to participate, and then you can continue introduce other things as well. But start from a simple place, having a really agile launch and continue from there.
Wonderful. Well, unless anyone else has any other questions or anything else to add, I think we'll call it an end there. So thank you everybody for joining us today. Thank you especially to you, Ipek, for all those brilliant insights that you shared. That was really fascinating. And to everybody who has participated, if you would like to learn more about anything that we've discussed, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'll be sending a recording of this session within the next week, so you can look forward to seeing that in your mailboxes very soon. Okay, so hopefully we'll see you on the next webinar. Take care, everyone, and speak to you again soon.